Jury not present.
The court said, "Would you make your appearances, please?"
Ms. Murray said, "Good morning, Your Honor. Juliana Murray on behalf of the United States. I'm joined by paralegal specialist Isabel Loftus and FBI Special Agent Robert Stout."
The court said, "Have you seen the defense attorneys?"
Ms. Murray said, "I have not seen them yet this morning, Your Honor."
The court said, "I will ask my staff to advise me as to when they arrive. I see Ms. Schroff now."
Ms. Schroff said, "Good morning, Your Honor."
The court said, "Would you make your appearance, please?"
Ms. Schroff said, "Sabrina Schroff on behalf of Mr. Gov't, who is standing to my left."
The court said, "You may be seated. Are there any issues that either side would like to raise?"
Ms. Murray said, "Nothing from the government, Your Honor."
Ms. Schroff said, "Nothing from the defense, Your Honor. Thank you."
The court said, "All righty. We'll start with the witness on the stand at 9:29. Thank you."
Recess. Continued on next page. Jury not present.
The court said, "Good morning, and would you have the jurors brought in?"
The law clerk said, "Jury entering."
Jury present.
The court said, "Please be seated. Good morning, jurors. I apologize that your breakfast was not in the jury room until 9:30 this morning. You were here on time, but the breakfast wasn't. This is not the first time that food has been late. I want you to know that my staff has been reminding the cafeteria of our schedule, but because there's been so much lateness, I'm personally going to go down to the cafeteria and speak with them. So we're getting started later than we expected. I apologize. We're going to continue with the direct examination of Ms. Reyes. You may continue the inquiry."
Mr. Finkel said, "Thank you, Your Honor."
Limarie Reyes. Resumed. Direct examination continued. By Mr. Finkel.
Good morning, Ms. Reyes.
Good morning.
I remind you you're still under oath. Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes, yesterday we talked about something called G-Talks. You recall that?
Yes.
Who set the budget for G-Talks?
I was provided the budget by Yvette.
And what was the approximate budget for each of the G-Talks event?
The second G-Talks event was 2.5 million. The first one, I don't recall, around 1.5.
1.5 million.
Yes, correct.
Did those numbers, the 1.5 million and 2.5 million, include the cost of any giveaways for the sweepstakes?
Yes, that included the cost of the sweepstakes.
You mentioned also yesterday I believe there was approximately 14 other employees during your time at G Clubs?
Yes.
And those employees were located in Puerto Rico?
The court said, "Both of you please get closer to the microphone and raise your voices so that everyone can hear."
Mr. Finkel said, "Certainly, Your Honor." What departments or roles did those employees have in Puerto Rico?
The departments that we had was Finance Department, the Legal Department, HR Department. We had events, marketing, partnership, and membership.
And those employees reported to who?
They were to report to their direct supervisor, and those would report directly to me.
And who did you report to?
I reported to the owner, Mr. He, and to Yvette as well.
Was Mr. He referred to by something other than his name, Mr. He?
UBO.
That was a term used within the office?
The court said, "What was that term again?"
The witness said, UBO.
The court said UBO?
The witness said, yes.
Standing for?
Ultimate beneficial owner.
When approximately did you become the interim CO?
February 2021.
And what is your understanding of who selected you to become the interim CO?
I was provided or I was asked by Z, the former CEO, and Jessica.
Did you understand who Z and Jessica consulted with to determine whether you would be CO?
Mr. Kamaraju said, objection.
The court said, I have to remind you to raise your voice because even I'm having some difficulty hearing every sentence clearly. The objection is sustained.
Did Z or Jessica mention anything about Yvette's view about you becoming interim CO?
Mr. Kamaraju said, same objection.
The court said, I'm going to allow the question.
You can answer.
Yes.
What did they say?
That they had discussed with Yvette.
And Yvette's view is what?
Positive to me being the interim CEO.
And what did your salary become when you became the interim CEO?
To the best of my recollection, $160,000.
How did you learn that you became the CEO?
I received an email from HR stating that I was going to be CEO.
And who selected you to become the CEO?
Yvette.
What did your salary become when you became the CEO?
$176.
And that's per year?
Annual, yes, correct.
Were you entitled to any bonuses?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury what bonuses you were entitled to?
Yes. There was a Puerto Rican Christmas bonus that's standard per law, and a yearly bonus. But that would depend on the different years.
What was the Puerto Rican Christmas bonus?
The amount, it's a percentage. It is around $600, $700.
And what do you mean by Puerto Rican Christmas bonus?
In Puerto Rico, there is an employee law that entitles Puerto Ricans to receive Christmas bonuses.
In addition to the Puerto Rican Christmas bonus, you said there was another bonus?
Yes.
And how much was that bonus for you?
It ranged from year to year, but to the best of my recollection, maybe $5,000.
And you were the interim CEO for approximately how long?
From February to around summer, couple of months.
And you were the CEO for how long?
Since summer 2021 up until my resignation.
Which was in what month and what year?
March 2023.
What was your understanding of where Yvette worked?
In New York.
The court said, Ms. Reyes, if you could get very close to the microphone, very, very close, and raise your voice.
Why did Yvette work in New York while G Clubs was in Puerto Rico?
I do not know. She was there since I started.
Did you ask Yvette why she worked in New York and you worked in Puerto Rico?
No, I did not.
Where did Miles go work?
I seen him in the New York office.
How many times had you been to the New York offices?
More than 10.
Ms. Loftus, if we can display what's in evidence, two exhibits GX132 and GX131. Start with the image on the left side of your screen, GX132. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
One of the New York office buildings.
Where approximately was that office building located?
I do not know the exact address. But using as reference, if you're looking at the map and there's Central Park, to the right side.
Have you been inside that building?
Yes.
How many floors were in that building approximately in GX132?
More than 3.
Where was Gwa's office?
In this building, in one of the higher floors.
Where was Yvette's office?
They shared office.
What other companies worked in that building in GX132, to your knowledge?
I saw G Fashion Team, Finance Team. There were legal departments, Rule of Law Foundation. Those are the ones that I recall.
The image in the right side of your screen, GX131, what is that?
The other New York office space.
Where roughly is that office space located at?
That would be to the left of Central Park.
What other companies worked in that office space on the right side, GX131?
There was G Fashion, HCHK, Getter, and other people that I don't know exactly.
Ms. Loftus, can you take down the image on the right and pull up GX110? Who is the individual depicted in GX110?
Max.
Did you observe where Max worked in the building on GX132? What floor?
I'm not sure if it's 4th, 2nd, or 3rd, but it was the finance department.
Did you observe Max interact with Yvette?
In this particular specific building?
In any building?
Yes.
Based on your observations, what was your understanding of the nature of Yvette and Max's relationship?
Mr. Kamaraju said, objection.
The court said, overrule. You can answer.
Could you repeat the question?
Based on what you saw and heard, what was your understanding of the nature of Yvette and Max's relationship?
Like what did they talk about?
Yeah.
They had meetings. And the things that I recall were with regards to information about different assets that we're working on.
And did you have an understanding whether Max reported to Yvette or Yvette reported to Max?
I'm not sure.
You can take those down. Who's Long Island David?
My interactions with him, the ones I recall, were with regards to G-Talks. He supported on the second G-Talks.
Do you know what farm Long Island David was a part of?
No.
Did you ask him?
No.
If we can pull up what's in evidence as GX441, GXGC441. Thank you. Ms. Reyes. Do you see your name in the CC line of this email?
Yes.
And what is the subject of this email?
It's information regarding HCHK employees.
What is HCHK Technologies?
HCHK is a vendor that provided support on different departments.
Did ACHK provide support to G Clubs?
Yes.
Why did you hire HCHK?
HCHK, I did not hire it. It was an instruction given, but it was hired to support with the technical. Like the ITT finance and legal and HR.
Who gave the instruction to hire ACHK for G Clubs?
Yvette.
Did you ask her why ACHK was selected?
Yes, I inquire why HCHK was.
And what was the reason for that?
We had a previous contract with GTV, and once that contract was cancelled, then we replaced it with HCHK.
On this email are some other domains. You see it says Get right there?
Yes.
There's G Fashion, G Clubs, HCHK Tech. Do you have an understanding why HCHK Tech was emailing G Fashion email address, a G Clubs email address, and a Get email address?
No.
We can take that down. Ms. Reyes, have you ever been to London?
Yes.
Did you travel to London as a G Clubs employee?
I traveled to the UK, yes.
Who asked you to travel to the UK?
Yvette.
And who did you go with?
In the plane?
Who did you go with?
I went with Alex, Dowa, Camel, and Manuel.
What was the last one?
Manuel.
Who is Alex?
Alex was a comptroller for G Clubs.
What's his last name?
Hadjikaralambis.
And who's Dowa?
Dowa was a CEO for G Fashion.
And who's Manuel?
An attorney for HCHK.
And what were you told was the purpose of your trip to the UK?
My purpose was to visit one of the potential partners that we were in communications with and to meet with Mr. He.
How did all of you travel to the UK?
In a private jet.
Had you been in a private jet before?
No.
What potential partner did you meet with in the UK?
Company is L&R Properties.
And what do they do?
I think they had hotel chains.
Did L&R Properties form a relationship with G Clubs?
Ultimately did not.
Can we pull up GX103? Do you know who this individual is?
To the best of my recollection, William J.E.
Have you ever met William J.E.?
Yes.
Where did you meet him?
In the offices of the Himalaya Exchange.
And when did you go to the offices of the Himalaya Exchange?
On that trip to London.
And why did you go to the offices of the Himalaya Exchange?
That was the request to go and meet with them, for they were going to give us information about the H-Pay app.
Who made the request for you to go to the Himalaya Exchange offices?
To the best of my recollection, Yvette.
And you said the H-Pay app?
Yes.
What's that?
It's an app that facilitates member payments.
Why is it called H-Pay?
I do not know.
Did G clubs use H-Pay to accept member payments?
Yes.
Who made the decision to allow members to use H-Pay?
That request came from Yvette and Mr. He.
What happened during the meeting with William J. in the Himalaya Exchange offices?
We got introduced and then they took us to meet with the technical team where they provided insight of the development of the H-Pay app. Later on we met their legal team with the rights to the contract. That was the concept of the meeting.
How did it work? How did the H-Pay app accept payments and get payments to G clubs?
I'm not exactly sure.
Did G clubs consider using other applications aside from H-Pay?
Apps? No, that was the one that we had.
The court said, Ms. Reyes, have you made presentations during your professional career?
The witness said, like?
The court said, presentations speaking to a group of people.
The witness said, yes.
The court said, okay. So when you speak to a group of people, you want them to hear what you have to say, right?
The witness said, yes.
The court said, so think of this in that way that you want to make yourself heard because your voice is so low that people are straining to hear what you say. I would like them to hear what you say, so please speak up.
Ms. Loftus, we can pull up GXGC 293, which is in evidence. If you can blow up the bottom email, please. Ms. Reyes, who is this email from?
Tanu.
At what domain?
Himalaya Exchange.
Can you read the second sentence of the email beginning as discussed?
As discussed. Please find attached document for more information on agreement which G Club needs to follow to integrate with Himalaya Pay.
Zoom out of that, please. We can take that down. Did G Club have an account with the Himalaya Exchange?
To the best of my understanding, yes.
And whose idea was it for G Clubs to have an account with the Himalaya Exchange?
It was the requirement in order to have the H-Pay app.
Continued on next page. By Mr. Finkel.
Aside from H-Pay, what other methods did G Clubs use to obtain payments from members?
Depending on the time, but there was wire payments, checks, and the H-Pay.
Where were the checks sent to?
Our offices in Puerto Rico.
And after the checks were received in your offices in Puerto Rico, what, if anything, happened to them?
Depending on the time, we would send them to New York, for them to be deposited at the banks. And other times it was to the banks in Puerto Rico.
How would you in Puerto Rico send the checks to New York?
Via mail.
And who would receive them in New York?
Alex.
You also said wires. What do you mean by that?
There was a time where members could pay via wire.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can pull up what's marked for identification as GX118. Who is this?
Hatham Khalid.
Mr. Finkel said, government offers 118.
Mr. Kamraju said, no objection.
The court said, it is admitted.
Government's Exhibit 118 received in evidence.
What is Crane?
Crane is like an escrow agent.
And what role did Crane have, if any, with respect to receiving member payments?
They would receive member payments.
How did members know to send payments to Crane?
I do not know.
Did you ask anyone how members knew to send payments to Crane?
I do not recall.
Mr. Finkel said, you can take that down. And if we can pull up what's been marked for identification as GX106. Who is this?
Alex.
Mr. Finkel said, government offers 106.
Mr. Kamraju said, no objection.
The court said, it is admitted.
Government's Exhibit 106 received in evidence.
And when you say Alex?
Hajikara Lambus.
And his role was what?
Comptroller for G Clubs.
What was your understanding of why he worked in New York instead of Puerto Rico?
I don't know. He was there before I started.
Mr. Finkel said, we can take that down. If you could pull up what's in evidence as GXGC 450 and go to the next page, please. Ms. Loftus, can you zoom in on that? Who is this email from?
David Fallon.
Who is that?
He was a part of the Himalaya exchange team. I met with him there.
You met with him where?
On the offices.
All right. And what does this email say from him?
Hi, Limarie. Mr. He has instructed us to execute the attached OTC transaction. Can you please sign and email back the attached transaction receipt and I will process the OTC deal.
What does that mean, OTC transaction?
I'm not exactly sure.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that, please. And if you can go to the next page. What does that say at the top?
Himalaya Exchange OTC transaction form.
And in the middle, it says transfer to buyer. Can you read that?
Yes. Buyer receives plus 500K HCN at 31.500 per HCN. Buyer pays 15,750,000 HDO.
What was the name of the buyer account?
Billing at clubs.com.
Who signed this?
Alex.
What is your understanding of YG? Clubs purchased 15.7 million HEO.
I do not know.
Did you ask Mr. He YG? Clubs was purchasing 15.7 million HEO?
I do not recall.
Did you ask Yvette?
I do not recall.
Would buying HEO provide member benefits?
I do not know.
Mr. Finkel said, we could take that down. Your trip to the UK, did you travel to any other countries?
Yes.
Which ones?
Naples.
Why did you travel to Naples?
To meet with Mr. He.
Who did you travel with?
To Naples, with Alex.
Just you and Alex?
Yes.
Where did you meet Mr. He?
In a boat.
Was anyone else in the boat?
Yes.
Who?
My son.
What was the name of the boat?
Lady May.
What time of day did you meet my son, Mr. He, in the Lady May?
The time? I don't recall specifically.
Was it evening, afternoon?
Yes, it was late evening.
Late evening?
Yeah.
Can you describe what the Lady May is like?
It's a big boat, with different floors.
How long were you and Alex on the Lady May with my son and Mr. He?
Couple hours.
How did you get to the Lady May?
From the pier. So we got to the pier, and then there was a smaller boat that took us there.
What did you do with Mr. He and my son and Alex on the Lady May for a couple of hours?
We had dinner.
What did you guys discuss?
To the best of my recollection, we learned that they had met since college. Talked about their likes. One had likes for water, like scuba diving, the other one for race cars. I believe we talked about our visit to the hotels, partnership, kind of like a collection of that day.
I'll just ask you to please speak up and speak clearly into the microphone.
Yes.
Who said they liked race cars?
My son.
Sorry?
My son.
And who said that he liked scuba diving?
Mr. He.
Did you discuss with my son and Mr. He taking down the Chinese Communist Party?
Not that I recall.
Did you discuss Chinese politics?
Not that I recall.
Did you discuss the whistleblower movement?
Not that I recall.
The new federal state of China?
Not that I recall.
What did Mr. He refer to my son as on the boat? What name did he use?
To the best of my recollection, my son.
Did there come a time, if ever, when you were asked to facilitate purchases of assets for G clubs?
Yes.
And who asked you to do that?
Depending. It could come from Yvette or Mr. He.
What sort of assets were purchased for G clubs,
vehicles, and there was a boat.
and what?
Boat.
What vehicles?
There was a Lamborghini, camper van, and a Bugatti.
And what sort of boat?
I believe it was a 70-foot yacht.
What were you told was the reason for these asset purchases?
We were going to be offering as potential benefits for members.
And by potential benefits, what, if anything, would members have to pay to use these assets?
We had not decided on what was going to be the payment.
Was it your understanding that the assets were going to be free to use or cost money?
No, to my understanding they were going to be like renting, so they were going to cost.
Did you say renting?
Yes, like when you would rent a car for an amount, yeah.
Again, please speak loudly into the mic, Ms. Reyes. What was done, if anything, during your entire time at G clubs to implement a procedure to allow members to rent these assets? The cars and the boat?
We had reached out to a firm in order to put in place a contract as to how to do that negotiation.
And when did you reach out to the firm about that?
To the best of my recollection, maybe around early 2022.
Okay. And after that reaching out to the firm in early 2022, what actions, if any others, were taken to put in place a process to allow members to rent these assets?
That was all we had done.
You mentioned a Lamborghini. Who from the New York office, if anyone, directed you to facilitate a purchase of a Lamborghini?
Mr. Kamaraju said, objection to foundation.
Mr. Finkel said, I'll withdraw.
The court said, sustained.
Mr. Finkel said, I'll withdraw. If we can pull up GXGC 276, which is in evidence, could you go to bottom of this? Or not quite the bottom, the last email. Keep going, please, Ms. Loftus. Right there. Can you zoom in on that?
By Mr. Finkel.
The September 10th, 2021 email, who is it from?
Bo Collins.
Who is Bo Collins?
The president of Mercantile Bank.
Had you ever met him?
In person? Yes.
Where?
At his home.
Mr. Finkel said, we can zoom out of that. And if you can scroll up, please, Ms. Loftus. So right there, September 10th email. No. Yeah. Who is this email from?
Max.
Max who?
Max Krasner.
And what's his email address?
max@lampcapital.org.
What's Lamp Capital?
I do not know.
And can you read what Max wrote?
Hi, Anna, looks like the team is staying with the Red Limbo. We need to finalize all paperwork. Officer resolutions, naming officer, and allowing the purchase of the vehicle. We need a driver's license. And a wire payment.
Did you receive this email?
Yes, I was copied.
What was your understanding of what Max meant by, the team is staying with the Red Limbo?
To the best of my understanding, Yvette.
Mr. Finkel said, you can zoom out of that, please, and scroll up, please, Ms. Loftus. Zoom in on that email. No. The one below it, please. Thank you. Can you read what Anna wrote to Max?
Hi Max, as discussed. It is past cut-off and we do not have the documents signed by Mr. He, including the resolution you need. Once Limarie gets them, she can send them and the wire can go out on Monday.
Stop there. What was your role in facilitating the purchase of this Red Limbo?
I would get the documents for the loan and the resolutions. And I would send them to Mr. He for his signature.
Who would you get the documents from?
Sorry?
Withdrawn? What do you mean by the loan?
There were set of loans that were done in order to purchase the asset. So these are the documents for that.
And can you describe what entity loaned to what entity?
There was G Club Operations, G Club International BVI.
BV?
BVI.
What's G Club Operations?
What is? The G Club is a membership company.
And where did G Club Operations get its money from?
Membership payments.
And G Club's operations would send a loan to G Club BVI?
Yes.
The court said, "Are you saying that operations was the lender G Club's operations?"
The witness said, correct.
And operations was based where, to your understanding?
Puerto Rico.
And G Club BVI was based where, to your understanding?
BVI.
How many employees did G Club's BVI have?
None, to my understanding.
What do you mean not to your understanding?
None. Sorry. None to my understanding.
The court said, "So I'm going to try using the handheld microphone to see if that will work better."
Who was the ultimate beneficial owner of G Club's BVI?
To my understanding, Mr. He.
Why, as the CEO of G Clubs, did you structure assets in this manner?
I did not structure the asset purchases in this manner.
Did you ask Yvette why they were structured in this manner?
The asset purchases? Not that I recall.
What about Mr. He? Did you ask him why they were structured in this manner?
Not that I recall.
Mr. Finkel said, "Is the handheld mic better or worse?"
The court said, "Members of the jury?"
The juror said, worse.
The court said, "This is worse. All right, so we'll go back to using the other microphone."
Mr. Finkel said, "Ms. Reyes, feel free to move the microphone to make yourself comfortable. And try to point the microphone directly at your mouth where your voice is coming out. And just speak as loudly and clearly as you can so everyone can hear you."
The court said, "Ms. Reyes, see how it bends like this? You can just bend it and get it really close so that everyone can hear you."
Mr. Finkel said, "Point it so it's right."
The witness said, here?
Mr. Finkel said, "Yeah. Speak right into the microphone, okay? Okay. We can zoom out of that. And can you scroll up? Please. And can you zoom in on the bottom email?
By Mr. Finkel.
Can you read what Max wrote?
Thanks, Anna. Here is the updated bill of sale. I will call the dealer first thing Monday morning to confirm they have the vehicle, and then we can wire the funds. Hopefully we have Mr. He's signature prior to that.
Why was Max in touch with the dealer?
To my understanding, Max was the one that was in managing the requirement, the documents.
Why was that being managed by someone in New York rather than Puerto Rico? Do you know?
I wouldn't know.
Mr. Finkel said, "Okay. We can zoom out of that. And can you scroll? Can you zoom in on the top email, please, Ms. Loftus? And what's the date of this email, Ms. Reyes?
September 11th, 2021.
And what did you write?"
Dear all, please find attached signed documents.
Mr. Finkel said, "Okay. Let's zoom out of that. If we can scroll down, please. Stop right there. Okay. What is this document titled?"
G Club International Limited.
And is this one of the documents that you attached as a signed document?
Could you repeat that?
Is this one of the documents that you attached to your email as a signed document?
Yes, this is the type of form, correct.
Who signed this document?
Mr. He.
Are you familiar with what Mr. E's signature looks like?
Yes.
All right. Can you read Purpose 1.1?
The sole director has deemed it to be in the best interest of the company to request a loan for $2 million from its wholly owned subsidiary G Club Operations, LLC.
Mr. Finkel said, "Can you zoom out of that?" And on the bottom it says Sole Director. Can you read the name below Sole Director?
Howren He.
Mr. Finkel said, "Zoom out of that." And can you zoom in, Ms. Loftus, on 1.2? Can you read 1.2, please, Ms. Reyes?
The sole director and the company are interested in purchasing a 2021 Lamborghini AV NTSV JRD, VIN number. Do you want me to read it completely?
Yes.
ZHWUN6ZD2 MLA10393, from Lamborghini Dallas for $832,000.75.
Why was Lamborghini Dallas selected as the seller of this Lamborghini?
I do not know.
Did you have any role in selecting Lamborghini Dallas as the seller of this Lamborghini?
No, I did not.
Do you have any role in negotiating the price of this Lamborghini?
No, I did not.
Did you have any role in selecting the model of this Lamborghini?
No, I did not.
Mr. Finkel said, "You can zoom out of that." And what does it say at the top?
Written resolutions of the sole director of the company made in accordance with the company's Articles of Association.
And above that, what's at the very top?
G Club International Limited, company number 2045976.
Mr. Finkel said, "Okay. You can zoom out of that." And could we go to the next page, please, Ms. Loftus? Who signed this document?
Mr. He.
And what does it say under written consent of the sole member at the very top?
G Club Operations LLC.
And can you read where it says, "Now, therefore, it is resolved"?
Now, therefore, it is resolved. Sole member deems it to be in the best interest of the company and hereby authorizes and directs the company to loan $2 million to the sole member for it to deposit. And under the terms and conditions established in the loan agreement. For efficiency purposes, the sole member hereby authorizes and directs the company and its authorized representatives to execute any and all documents necessary to consummate the loan authorized herein.
Mr. Finkel said, "Zoom out of that, please." And above that, can you read where it says, "Whereas"?
Whereas, sole member has deemed it to be in the best interest of the company to loan $2 million at 3% APR to the sole member for its investment. Under the terms and conditions further stipulated in the loan agreement attached here to as Exhibit A.
Ms. Reyes, to your knowledge, did G Club's BVI pay G Club's operations for this loan?
Not that I was aware of, no.
With respect to any of the assets purchases, did G Club's BVI make payments to G Club's operations?
Not that I was aware of.
Mr. Finkel said, "Zoom out of that, please." Could you scroll down, please, Ms. Loftus? Stop right there. What is this document?
It's a loan agreement.
Between who?
G Club Operations and G Club International Limited.
And G Club Operations is located where?
Puerto Rico.
And G Club International Limited is located where?
BVI.
And in the G Club's office, what would employees refer to G Club International Limited as?
G Club BVI.
Do you recognize the initials at the bottom of the page?
Yes.
Whose initials are they?
Mr. He and mine.
Mr. Finkel said, "Okay. We can go to the next page, please, Ms. Loftus." And can you read? Agreed terms, loan proceeds.
Loan proceeds. The lender hereby agrees to lend to borrower $2 million.
Did you write this loan agreement?
No, I did not.
Did you ask questions about why it was structured this way?
Not that I recall.
Mr. Finkel said, "You can zoom out of that, please, Ms. Loftus." And could you go to paragraph 15? Under notices, there are 3 email addresses. Do you see that?
Yes.
Mr. Finkel said, "Can you zoom in on that, please?" For lender, what's the email address for lender?
Notices@clubs.com.
And for borrower?
color@protonmail.com, and notice@clubv@protonmail.com.
Who used the email address color@protonmail.com?
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, "You can zoom out of that. Can you go to the last page, please? Or second to last page, please, Ms. Loftus?" "One more. Thank you." "Who signed this?"
Mr. He and me.
Mr. Finkel said, "If we can pull up GXGC 300, which is in evidence." And at the very top, who is this email from?
From me.
Who is it to?
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, "Can you go to page 6, please, Ms. Loftus?" This was attached to your email.
I'm sorry?
Was this attached to your email?
I didn't.
Mr. Finkel said, "Let's go back to page 1. Let's go to page 1, please, Ms. Loftus." What are the attachments to this email?
Letter of authority, motor vehicle buyer's order, and vehicle docs.
Mr. Finkel said, "And if we can go to page 6, please, of GXGC 300. Can you zoom in on that? And who is this letter addressed to?"
Mr. He.
What does it say? What name does it say?
Dear Mr. Howren.
And can you read number 3 under? Here is of items needed.
Down payment of funding, wire, cashier's check to Lamborghini Dallas, received.
Who signed this letter?
E.g. Louis Bonsuken.
Have you ever spoken with Louis Bonsuken?
No, I have not.
Have you spoken with anyone from Lamborghini Dallas?
No, I have not.
Mr. Finkel said, "We can pull up GXGC 318. And can you zoom in on the top email, please? Who is this email from?"
From Max.
Can you read what it says?
Team, dealer doesn't think they will be able to install the LoJack. So let's go ahead with the signing of the docs and wiring the funds in the morning. Additionally, please see the dispatch sheet. The vehicle will be loaded on Saturday and the planned delivery to CT is Thursday, September 30th. The cost for shipping is $1,400 and the transport company will request payment upon delivery. Easiest way is to pay by credit card, otherwise we can ask if they can accept a wire.
Okay. What is your understanding of why? Well, withdrawn? Mr. Finkel said, "Could we zoom out of that for a moment? Can you scroll down, please?" Okay. Great. Sorry. Keep going down. Ms. Loftus, can you scroll up? Keep going. Stop right there. Can you zoom in at the top email? Can you just read the first sentence of this email?
Looks like the team is staying with the red limbo.
Mr. Finkel said, "Can you zoom out of that, please, Ms. Loftus?" Scroll up. Keep going. Stop. And can you zoom in on that email? Can you read the first sentence?
The car dealer will work with us to get the car shipped from Dallas to CT.
What was your understanding of what CT means?
Connecticut.
Why was the Lamborghini going to be shipped from Dallas to Connecticut?
I do not know.
Have you ever been to Greenwich, Connecticut?
No.
Does G Clubs have any offices, to your knowledge, in Greenwich, Connecticut?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Mr. Finkel said, "Zoom out of that. Scroll up a little bit. Stop right there. And can you zoom into from team, from Max? Actually, keep going. Perfect. Can you read the first sentence?
We got a lot of declines so far for commercial vehicle insurance. Mainly due to the fact that it's a high-end car. Nonetheless, please see below message in blue from the broker.
And can you read the first 2 bullet points?
Who are the owners of the club LLC? Why is the vehicle being titled to this club? Second one, has Scott previously owned any other exotic vehicles? I have attached a resume of high-performance driving experience if you could fill this out as well.
Are you aware of anyone named Scott who worked for Miles Gua?
At the time? At the time of this email, no.
Did you later learn of an individual named Scott who worked for Miles Gua?
I learned of an individual named Scott, correct?
Do you know Scott's last name?
I don't recall.
What is your understanding of what Scott did for Miles Gov't?
He was like security person.
Mr. Finkel said, "Can we scroll up, please?" Stop right there. And this email from Anna on September 20th, 2021 starts, "Good morning, Max. Can you read the first bullet?"
My first question is, who is Scott?
Mr. Finkel said, "Okay. Zoom out of that. Can you read the second bullet?"
As you know, the Limbo was bought outright, not financed nor leased.
Why was Scott involved in the purchase of the red Limbo?
I do not know.
Did you ask anyone why?
Not that I recall.
Mr. Finkel said, "We can take that down." Was the Lamborghini purchased?
I believe so, yes.
Was it ever made available to G Club's members?
Not that I was aware of, no.
Did you ever see the red Lamborghini in person?
Not in person, no.
Did you ever see it in a video?
Yes.
When?
I'm not exactly sure the date. Some point in 2022.
What did you see? Can you describe it to the members of the jury, please?
Yes. It was a video of Mr. Gov't showcasing a red Lamborghini.
And what was your understanding of why Gov't was showcasing a red Lamborghini?
As a benefit for members, that was something that they would be able to receive or enjoy.
And at the time you saw this video, Ms. Reyes, was the red Lamborghini available to members?
Not at the time.
Was it available to members at any time that you were at G Clubs?
No, it was not.
Did you ever speak to Gov't about the Lamborghini in this video?
Not that I recall.
What reaction did you have seeing with showcasing the red Lamborghini in this video?
What did we do?
How did it make you feel?
I was concerned because that was not something that we were offering at the time.
Did you relay these concerns to anybody?
Yes. Concerns related to the legal department.
Who?
Anna.
And what did Anna say, if anything, about the red Lamborghini?
She sought advice from Victor as to how to manage.
Victor who?
Victor Serta.
The court said, "Where was Victor located?"
The witness said, "In New York."
Mr. Finkel said, "If we can display for the witness GX119. Who is this individual?"
Scott.
Mr. Finkel said, "Government offers 119.
Mr. Kamarju said, no objection.
The court said, "It is admitted."
Government's Exhibit 119 received in evidence.
And what is your understanding of Scott's role again?
He was security.
For who?
For Mr. Gov't and the building.
Did you see him when you traveled to New York?
In some occasions, yes.
And approximately how many occasions did you see Scott?
I'm not exactly sure. A few.
Did you speak with him on those occasions?
Mainly if I crossed in the hallway with him.
Did Scott ever tell you anything about the red Lamborghini?
Mr. Kamarju said, objection, hearsay.
The court said, "Overruled. You may answer."
Yes, I recall a time where he mentioned about looking for a warehouse.
And what prompted Scott to tell you, "Excuse me"? Withdrawn? Ms. Reyes, what, if anything, did you say to Scott that prompted him to say they were looking for a warehouse?
Mr. Kamarju said, objection to form.
The court said, "Did you say anything to him?"
Did you say anything to him before Scott said that they were looking for a warehouse for the red Lamborghini?
Not that I recall.
So he said it out of the blue.
To the best of my recollection, yes.
Sitting here today, do you know what happened to the red Lamborghini?
I do not know.
Did you authorize the red Lamborghini to be stored anywhere?
No, I did not.
Did you receive updates about where the red Lamborghini was?
No, I did not.
Did you ask questions about where the red Lamborghini was?
Not that I recall.
Did Mr. He inquire with you about where the red Lamborghini was?
Not that I recall.
What about Yvette?
Not that I recall.
What about Miles Gua?
No.
Mr. Horton said, "We can take that down," and on the left side of the screen, Ms. Loftus, if you could pull up GXGC 276. The fourth page. And can you zoom in on paragraph 1.2? Can you do it so the rest of the document is visible? Can you drag that to the bottom? And on the right side of the screen, can you pull up GXCT 41?
By Mr. Finkel.
Ms. Reyes, can you read the VIN number from 1.2, the document at the bottom?
ZWN 6ZD2 MLA 10393.
What is a VIN number?
Number that identifies a car.
Say again?
A number that identifies a car.
And can you read the number on the right side of the screen in CT41?
ZWN 6ZD2 MLA 10393.
Is that the same number?
Yes.
Have you seen that image on the right side of the screen before?
No, I have not.
Mr. Finkel said, Ms. Loftus, if you can take down CT41 and replace it with CT38. GXCT38, the right side of your screen, Ms. Reyes. Where was that photograph taken?
I do not know.
Have you ever seen this photograph before?
No.
Who is Defeng Chow?
I do not know.
Who is Wayne Chow?
I do not know.
Is Wayne Chow an employee of G Clubs?
No.
Is Defeng Chow an employee of G Clubs?
No.
Mr. Finkel said, we can take that down. Ms. Reyes, what is a Bugatti?
A sports car.
Did there come a time, if ever, when Mr. He asked you to help purchase a Bugatti?
Yes.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can pull up what's in evidence as GXGC 341. Who is this email from?
Mr. He.
And who is it to?
To me.
And what is Mr. He asking you to do?
To sign the purchase contract attached and give updates on the progress of Mr. Ian.
And what's Mr. Ian? What's he involved in?
Mr. Ian is the president or owner of the L&R Properties.
The hotel chain you met with when you went to the UK?
Correct.
Mr. Finkel said, can you zoom out of that please, Ms. Loftus? Go to the next page. What does it say at the top of this document?
Supplemental terms for the purchase of the Bugatti Chiron Supersport.
What's a Chiron Supersport?
The model of the car.
Did G Clubs purchase a Bugatti?
We had a loan, correct.
A loan to who?
BVI.
And did BVI purchase a Bugatti?
Yes.
And what were you told was the reason BVI was purchasing a Bugatti?
As part of the benefits for the members.
And aside from that law firm you talked to, and you said in 2021, was there any other efforts made to set up a way for members to use a Bugatti?
Mr. Kamraju said, objection. Misstates the testimony.
Aside from the law firm you spoke to, was there any other efforts made to make a Bugatti or any other vehicle available for members?
Mr. Kamraju said, objection, compound.
The court said, if you'll take it piece by piece.
Was the Bugatti ever made available to members of G Clubs?
No, it was not.
Why did you, Ms. Reyes, as the CEO of G Clubs, select a Bugatti?
I did not select a Bugatti.
Who did?
Mr. He.
Did you have a discussion with Mr. He about whether it made sense to spend money on a Bugatti?
Not that I recall.
Or a Lamborghini?
No.
Mr. Finkel said, Ms. Loftus, can you zoom in at the top where it says buyer? What's the name listed for buyer?
My name.
Sorry?
My name.
Is that your email address? dimus80@gmail.com?
No, it's not.
Is that your telephone number?
No, it's not.
Mr. Finkel said, you can zoom out of that. You can scroll down. Stop right there. And can you zoom in on 2A? What was the base price for the Bugatti?
$3,825,000 US.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can pull up, Ms. Loftus, GXGC 363. And what is Mr. He asking you on this document on November 2nd, 2021?
To please confirm the agreed delivery time.
Was the Bugatti delivered anywhere?
Not that I recall.
Do you know who Lonnie Souza is?
I'm not exactly sure.
Do you know what Post Oak Motors is?
Sorry?
Post Oak Motors.
Yes. The dealership for the Bugatti.
Did you communicate with any individuals from Post Oak Motors in connection with the Bugatti?
Yes.
Do you recall who you spoke with?
I don't remember the name, but I believe it was like the president.
Okay. And what were the nature of your communications with Post Oak Motors?
Depending. Changes or modifications and with regard to payments and registration.
Mr. Finkel said, if we could pull up GXGC 522, which is in evidence. Who signed this document, Ms. Reyes?
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, and Ms. Loftus, can you zoom in on purpose? Can you read 1.1?
The sole director and the company are interested in purchasing a Bugatti Chiron Supersport from Bugatti Houston for $3,825,000 US, which may be subject to Euro to USD exchange rate fluctuations, to transport it, find proper storage, and to purchase the necessary insurance.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that. Is there another page to this? You said that the Bugatti was purchased through a loan from G Club Operations to G Club BVI. Is that right?
Yes.
Was that loan ever paid back by BVI?
Not that I recall.
And the money that was sent from operations to BVI to purchase this Bugatti, where did G Club's operations get that money from?
Member payments.
Did there come a time, if ever, when Mr. He said that he would contact Post Oak Motors instead of you?
Yes.
And did Mr. He explain why?
No.
What was going on with Post Oak Motors at that time when Mr. He said he would take over?
That was a time where the car was available and registration documents needed to be worked on.
What do you mean by the car was available?
It was already done, constructed.
Where was it available from?
From the dealership.
Where was the dealership located? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
And why did Mr. He take over the registration issues with respect to the Bugatti?
I do not know.
Mr. Finkel said, if we pull up GX218. To your knowledge, did anyone ever pick up the car, the Bugatti?
I do not know.
Do you know where this photograph was taken?
No.
Have you seen this photograph before?
No.
Mr. Finkel said, we can take that down. You mentioned that another asset that was purchased was a boat. Is that right?
Yes.
Mr. Finkel said, we can pull up GXGC 309. And the top? Who is this email from?
Mr. He.
And who is it to?
To me.
Can you read the subject?
G Club's loan documents and resolutions, G Club International Limited.
And what's attached to it? What are the attachments called?
Written resolutions and yacht contract.
Mr. Finkel said, you can zoom out of that. And can you zoom in on the September 20th email? Can you read what you wrote to Mr. He on September 20th?
Please find attached vessel additional documentation for your review and approval signature. G. Fashion Hold Company. B. Resolution consent to the adoption of the company to enter into a certain purchase agreement to acquire a bearing 70 vessel with transport to Boston, Ma, USA. 7-star yacht transport contract.
What is G. Fashion Hold Company? B.
I'm not sure.
And the bearing 70 vessel, what's that?
The boat, the yacht.
What role, if any, did you have in selecting the bearing 70 vessel as something to purchase?
I did not have a role.
Did you ask any questions to Mr. He about why G. Clubs was purchasing a bearing 70 vessel?
I did not.
What about with Yvette?
Not that I recall.
Mr. Finkel said, you can zoom out of that, please. And if you can scroll down, keep going. Bit more, please. Stop right there. What does it say at the top of this document?
G. Fashion Hold Company. B. Limited.
Mr. Finkel said, scroll down a bit. Who signed this document?
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that, please. If you could scroll up. And can you read 1.1?
The company's wholly owned parent, Jovial Century International Limited, issued a capital contribution of $2,300,000 to the company on August 30, 2021.
What's Jovial Century International Limited?
Among the org chart, it's a higher level above G Club operations.
And what were you told, if anything, about who the ultimate beneficial owner is of Jovial?
I don't recall someone telling me.
Did you ask any questions about why G Clubs was structured in this manner, with Jovial at the top?
Not that I recall.
Mr. Finkel said, you can zoom out of that. And can you read 1.2?
The sole director has deemed it to be in the best interest of the company to acquire a bearing 70 vessel with hull ID number.
That's fine. You don't have to read that. What's the price?
$2,130,000.
And did that money come from a loan from G Club's operations?
Best of my recollection, yes.
And where did G Club operations get that $2,130,000 from?
Our member payment.
Member payments?
Yes.
Mr. Finkel said, could we zoom out of that, please? Can you scroll down? Keep going. Can you read what it says at the top on the right?
Yacht contract.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that, please, Ms. Loftus. Who signed that contract?
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, you can take that down. Did there come a time, if ever, when you spoke to Miles Gov't about the yacht?
Yes.
What was the name of the yacht?
Liberty.
When did you speak with Miles Gov't about the Liberty?
I'm not exactly sure the date, but some point in 2022.
Was it after the boat was purchased?
Could I see the date?
Sure.
Sorry.
Mr. Finkel said, if you can pull back up, Ms. Loftus, GC 309. Do you see the date on this email?
Yes.
You spoke with Gov't about the yacht after it was purchased.
Yes.
And what manner did you speak with Gov't about the yacht?
It was conversation about the boat having some issues, some mechanical issues.
The court said, what form of communication was used?
The witness said, physical. It was in person. It was a meeting.
Where did this meeting take place?
In the New York offices.
Mr. Finkel said, you can take that down, Ms. Loftus. Who else was part of the meeting?
As of my recollection, it was the captain, in a video Zoom, Yvette, Max. Those are the ones I remember.
Why did you participate in this meeting with Gov't, Yvette, Max, and the boat captain?
I was requested to attend the meeting.
Who requested?
Best of my recollection, Yvette.
What did Gov't say about the yacht?
They were talking mechanical aspects, about not being, like Safe because of, it had like a hole on the front.
What was saying these things about the hole in the front?
It was conversations between the captain and him, but I don't remember specifically.
Did Gwe explain how he knew that the yacht had problems during the call?
Not that I recall.
Were G Club's members able to use the Liberty?
Not that I was aware.
Was there any process in place to allow G Club's members to rent the Liberty?
No.
Did you ever see the Liberty in person?
Yes.
Where?
In the marina.
Which marina?
I don't know the name.
What state?
New Jersey.
Why did you see the Liberty yacht in a marina in New Jersey? Why were you there?
After the meeting, I wanted to see what the issue was. So I went to physically see the hole and not having, like, a barrier.
What happened to the Liberty yacht?
It ultimately got sold.
Why did you decide to sell the Liberty yacht?
I did not decide to sell the boat.
Who decided to sell the boat?
To the best of my recollection, that Mr. He decided on it.
Did you ask Mr. He why he wanted to sell the boat?
What I was told is that because it was not safe, it wasn't seaworthy.
Did there come a time, if ever, when G Clubs purchased a camper van?
Yes.
How did you learn about this, the camper van?
Alone as well.
How did you learn about it?
It was a request that came in. I'm not exactly sure if it was Yvette or Mr. He.
Yvette or who?
Mr. He.
Did you select the camper van?
No, I did not.
Do you know who did?
No, I do not.
Do you know how much the camper van cost?
I don't recall.
Mr. Finkel said, if we could pull up GXGC 365. And what's the subject of this email?
G Club International Limited Resolution. Additional asset purchase.
And was the camper van purchased in the same manner, with a loan from G Club's operations to BVI?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
And the money that G Club's operations sent to BVI, where did that money come from?
Membership fees.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that, please. Go to the next page. Keep going. Stop right there. Can you read the English in the second line at the top? Right there.
Binding order of a new motor vehicle/trailer.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that. And what's the price on the bottom right?
$343,235.29.
Who signed that document?
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that. And what's the name of the company at the top?
SOD, Stone Off Road.
Where was the camper van manufactured, to your knowledge?
Germany, if I'm not mistaken.
Was the camper van ever delivered?
Not that I was aware of.
Mr. Finkel said, you can take that down. We can pull up what's been marked for identification as GC 551. Who is this email from Ann to?
From Pablo to me.
Mr. Finkel said, the government offers GC 551.
Mr. Comraju said, no objection.
The court said, it is admitted.
Government's Exhibit GC 551 received in evidence.
Mr. Finkel said, could we publish that, please?
By Mr. Finkel.
And who's Pablo?
Pablo is an attorney.
And who's copied on this email from Pablo to you?
Victor.
Victor who?
Serta.
What's the subject of this email?
G Club subpoena.
What's the date?
June 13th, 2022.
Mr. Finkel said, zoom out of that, please. Can you zoom in on the bottom? Who is this email from?
JLimarie.
And what is the text of this email?
Sorry?
What is the text of the email, the content? Starting with Pablo, could you read it?
Yes. Thank you for agreeing to accept service of the attached subpoena on behalf of your client. G Club Operations LLC. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Mr. Finkel said, you can zoom out of that. Did you become aware that G Clubs received a subpoena on June 13, 2022?
Yes.
At the time, Ms. Reyes, you first learned about this. Did you know what a subpoena was?
No.
What did you come to understand the subpoena was?
It was an inquiry from the government for different charges.
How did you feel learning that G Clubs had received the subpoena from the government?
I didn't know what that was, and I was concerned because it involved the government.
You said you were what?
Concerned.
Did you discuss the subpoena with Anna?
At some point, yes.
Did Anna come to leave G Clubs?
Yes.
When approximately did she leave?
September 2022.
What is your understanding of why Anna left?
Mr. Kamaraju said, objection.
The court said, overruled. You may answer.
When she presented her resignation letter, she said that she had found another job. That it was to happen, and at some point she was concerned with her license being revoked.
What do you mean by concerned about her license being revoked?
Like her lawyer license.
Around the time that G Clubs received the subpoena from the government, did you have your own lawyer?
No, I did not.
Did you ask for one?
At some point I did, yes.
Who did you ask for one?
To the best of my recollection, counsel.
What were you told about whether you could have your own lawyer?
I was told that I did not need it, and if they believed I did, they would let me know.
How did that make you feel that you weren't being provided your own lawyer?
Mr. Kamaraju said, objection. Misstates testimony.
The court said, you may say how you felt.
Not considered, because I was asking for it.
What do you mean by not considered?
Like they were not really thinking of me, even though I was asking for it.
The court said, keep your voice up, please.
The witness said, sorry.
Ms. Reyes, after G Clubs received the subpoena, did you meet with Miles Gua?
In person? I believe so.
Where?
In the New York office.
Have you ever been to the Sherry Netherland?
Yes.
And why did you go to the Sherry Netherland?
It was to have dinner.
With who?
Mr. Gua, Alex, and Yvette.
Was this after the subpoena was received by G Clubs?
Yes.
What did Miles Gua tell you during that dinner?
It was like a thank you dinner for the job that we were doing in G Clubs. And during the conversations he asked about my family, personal information. And there was a conversation along the lines of, like, his brother being killed because of his political views and how that meant that he was, like, trustworthy or true to his beliefs.
Is that the only time you had dinner with Miles Gua?
Yes.
Did Miles Gua during that dinner mention anything about loyalty?
Yes.
What did he say about loyalty?
It was referencing how his brother was loyal to his beliefs and he died because of it.
And what?
He died because of it.
And this conversation about loyalty, this was after G Clubs received the subpoena?
Mr. Kamaraju said, asked and answered, Your Honor.
The court said, sustained.
Mr. Finkel said, I see it's 11:30. Is this a good time to break?
The court said, although it's 11:30, since we started late, we'll go until noon, then we'll break. Well, we'll come back at 12:30. We'll break at 2:30 again. Go ahead.
Mr. Finkel said, okay. Thank you, Your Honor. We can take that down, Ms. Loftus.
By Mr. Finkel.
Did there come a time where G Clubs sued Crane?
Yes.
And what role did you have, if any, as CEO of G Clubs in deciding to sue Crane?
I did not have a role.
Have you ever participated in a phone call with Miles Gwa about Crane's money?
Not that I recall.
After G. Club sued Crane, was there an arbitration proceeding?
Yes.
And at that time, did you have your own lawyer?
No, I did not.
Were you asked to testify at that arbitration proceeding?
Yes.
Did you want to?
No.
Did you say you didn't want to?
Yes.
What were you told?
That because I was the CEO, I had to.
How did that make you feel?
Uneasy. I wasn't comfortable doing so.
Generally speaking, at the time of this arbitration proceeding, how were you feeling about G. Clubs?
I was feeling concerned, stressed. There were many things I didn't understand.
Did you testify at the arbitration proceeding?
Yes.
Were you told to say anything in particular at the arbitration proceeding?
What was I going to be talking about?
In advance of the arbitration proceeding. Were you told to say anything in particular during the arbitration?
No.
Did you go into the arbitration proceeding with an intention to lie?
No.
Were you completely truthful with the arbitration panel?
There were things that were inaccurate.
What was inaccurate in your testimony?
To the best of my recollection, as I referenced Yvette, Mr. Gwa. I did not include him as part of promoting G. Clubs and concierge service. Those are the things I can remember.
How did you describe Yvette during the arbitration proceeding when you were testifying?
As a representative.
And was this arbitration testimony under oath?
Yes.
Was Yvette just a representative?
That's how I've heard her being described, but she instructed and advice on other things.
You also said something about concierge service?
Yes.
What did you tell the arbitration panel about concierge services?
Having a concierge service. That's how it was called. But it's more of a customer service.
So when you said that there was a concierge service to the arbitration panel, was that true?
No.
You also mentioned that. You mentioned something about Gwa during the arbitration testimony. What did you say that wasn't correct about Gwa?
I didn't include him as the promotion of G. Clubs.
Was Gwa involved in the promotion of G. Clubs?
Yes.
When you told the panel that he wasn't involved. Or you didn't say to the panel that he was involved in the promotion of G. Clubs, was that true?
That was inaccurate.
Did G. Clubs prevail in the Crane arbitration?
Sorry? Could you say that again?
Did G. Clubs win the Crane arbitration?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Finkel said, if we can pull up GXGC 377. Who is this email from?
From me.
To who?
Mr. He.
And what's it in regards to?
G. Club's loan documents and resolution for Hamilton Digital Assets.
What's Hamilton Digital Assets?
I'm not exactly sure.
And these documents that you attached, sending to Mr. He, what was the purpose of these documents?
They were loan documents and resolutions.
For what?
For this case in particular, invest proceeds in the Hamilton Digital Assets.
What role did you have, if any, in deciding whether to invest G. Club's funds into Hamilton Digital Assets?
I did not have a role.
What was your understanding? Well withdrawn. Did you ask Mr. He why G. Club's funds were being invested into Hamilton Digital Assets?
Not that I recall.
Did you ask Yvette?
Not that I recall.
Can you read number 2 and 3 in your email?
G Club International Limited BVI resolution consent to the adoption of the company to request a loan of $60 million from G Club operations. G Club International Limited BVI resolution 2. Consent to Approves and authorize investment of $460,549,275.17 in Hamilton Digital Assets.
And can you read the asterisk where it says, "Please note," at the bottom?
Please note, the $13,450,724.83 difference is considered as a buffer to cover any additional asset purchase/investments for the remaining of the year.
What is your understanding of why that $46,549,275.17 is so specific?
I do not know.
Mr. Finkel said, "You can zoom out of that, please, and can we go to the next page? And can you read where it says, whereas?"
Whereas, Sole Member has deemed it to be in the best interest of the company to loan $60 million at 2.2 APR to the Sole Member. Under the terms and conditions further stipulated in the loan agreement attached here to as exhibit.
Mr. Finkel said, "Zoom out of that. And if we can scroll down, scroll more. And can you zoom in on paragraph 1, please?" Ms. Loftus. And can you read the first 1.1?
The sole director and the company are interested in investing $46,549,275.17 proceeds in Hamilton Digital Assets FDSP.
Mr. Finkel said, "Could we zoom out of that? And who's indicated as the sole director at the bottom?"
Mr. He.
Mr. Finkel said, "If we can pull up GXGC 497, which is in evidence, I believe." Who is this document addressed to?
G Club Operations, me.
And what?
Me.
And what's Lowell and Mitchell?
It's a law firm that we had retained.
Mr. Finkel said, "You don't need to zoom in on that right now. Thank you." What lawyer worked at Lowell and Mitchell that G Clubs interacted with?
Aaron.
Who decided to hire Aaron of Lowell and Mitchell for G Clubs?
To the best of my recollection, it was Victor that took care of this.
Victor Serta?
Yes.
Did you play any role in deciding to hire Aaron Mitchell?
No, I did not.
Can you read the first paragraph? As you are aware,
on or about September 29, 2021. G Club Operations LLC retained Lowell and Mitchell LLC to advise and represent G Club with respect to its dispute with Crane Advisory Group LLC.
Keep going, please. Can you read the next paragraph?
In connection with the above-referenced arbitration, the arbitrator directed Crane Advisory Group to transfer certain funds to G Club. To facilitate the transfer, on or about the dates below, I received into my escrow account the following 11 wire transfers totaling $46,549,275.17.
What is your understanding to mean in the letter where it says, "I received into my escrow account the following 11 wire transfers"?
He had an escrow account and the funds were received there.
Funds from Crane?
Yes.
And what's your understanding, if any, as to why Aaron Mitchell received the funds from Crane?
He was the attorney on Crane, and there was a request to have an escrow account. And his firm was the escrow.
Mr. Finkel said, "Zoom out of that, please. Scroll down. And can you blow up the on November 8th paragraph? Yeah. Can you read that, please, Ms. Reyes?
On November 8, 2021, upon the direction of G Club, I transferred the above sums, totaling $46,549,275.17 from my attorney escrow account to Hamilton Digital Assets Fund SP, AMAD.
You don't have to read that number, Ms. Reyes. Did you provide the direction to Aaron Mitchell to transfer the above sums totaling $46 million and change to Hamilton Digital Assets?
No, I did not.
Do you know who did?
I'm not sure.
Were you consulted about whether transferring the $46.5 million to Hamilton Digital Assets was a good idea for G. Clubs?
Not that I recall.
Did you have a view one way or the other when you were the CEO whether transferring $46.5 million to Hamilton Digital Assets was a good idea for G. Clubs?
No, I did not.
Mr. Finkel said, you can take that down. If we can pull up GXGC 380. No. 380, please. Sorry. Actually, Ms. Loftus. Can you put that on the left side of the screen? And can you zoom in on the top email?
By Mr. Finkel.
Who is this email from?
From Alex.
Are you copied on it?
Yes.
Who is it to?
David Fallon.
Who is David Fallon?
David Fallon was amongst the Himalaya Exchange employees.
And what did Alex write to David? Can you read it?
Good morning, David. Please accept this email as confirmation that we wish to increase our subscription amount to our Hamilton PE Fund SP in the amount of $46,549,275.17.
That's good. You can stop there. Ms. Reyes, did you participate in any discussions about whether or not to increase G. Club subscription amount in Hamilton P Fund?
Not that I recall.
Mr. Finkel said, can you zoom out of that, please? Can you scroll down? Stop right there. Actually, if you can go up just a little bit, Ms. Loftus. Yup. And can you read what David Fallon wrote on November 9th, 2021?
Morning, Alex. I see a credit of the below amount into the fund bank account. For the fund admin records, can you please provide the following: proof of the relationship with Lawwell and Mitchell LLC for this transfer. Our fund administrator will need to know that the money sent through the law firm is G. Clubs. Also a confirmation email of the subscription increase amount. So you are increasing your subscription in Hamilton Digital Assets SP.
And below that is an image, and it says, description, incoming money transfer. Did I read that right?
Yes.
And what's it say below that, after the...
The court said, could you blow that up? Oh, is there a problem on the screen? You need to go to the bathroom? Okay, so we'll take a break. Take a break and we'll come back 10 minutes.
Mr. Finkel said, is this good for a lunch break now, or...
The court said, well, actually now I see that it is 11:45. So we'll break now and return at 12:30. Do not discuss this case with anyone or amongst yourselves. Don't permit anyone to discuss the case in your presence. Do not read, listen, or watch anything from any source which touches upon the subject matter of this case.
Jury not present.
The court said, you may step out of the courtroom. Remember not to discuss your testimony.
Witness not present.
The court said, you may be seated. Is there anything from either party before we return?
Mr. Kamraju said, not from the defense, Your Honor.
Mr. Finkel said, just a logistical issue that the government and defense are discussing. I just want to flag it for the court. There's no need for the court to intervene at this point, as the parties are still discussing, but our next witness is an FBI analyst. She has an appointment on Thursday morning that she cannot move, but she'll be available Thursday afternoon. We noticed the defense that this FBI analyst would be next, well, next after Ms. Reyes. And so it seems, depending on the timing of when Ms. Reyes is done. It's possible that that witness would still be on the stand at the end of the day and would not be able to return on Thursday morning. Would have to come back to finish their testimony. So we could either do that. If Your Honor is okay with it, and the defense is okay with it, the government has no preference, or we can just call the witness after, which is a banker from Morgan Stanley.
The court said, are you saying call the witness Thursday afternoon?
Mr. Finkel said, so the analyst, if we don't finish her today, she wouldn't be able to finish her testimony on Thursday morning. so she could come back on Thursday afternoon to complete her testimony, so it would be out of order in that sense.
The court said, understood. That's fine with the court.
Mr. Finkel said, okay. So the parties will discuss and advise the court.
The court said, thank you.
Mr. Finkel said, thank you, Your Honor.
Luncheon recess.